Good morning, people. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the market caller for today, the 6th day of July 2026. We're excited to have you all here. This is a market caller brought to you by the Value Flow Trading team. Apologies for the delayed time that we had. We're going to go straight into the analysis for today. Here on the market caller, we analyze major currency pairs and indices, and we show you where we think the market is heading to for the day, for the week, and for the particular market session that we are trading. Today being Monday, we're going to be starting off our analysis from the gold against the dollar. And together with me here, we have Abby, Cynthia, Demola, and Lekon, who are going to be joining us today on the market caller to share their thoughts on other currency pairs and indices. So we're going to be moving straight into the charts to begin our analysis, starting off with gold against the dollar. Now, looking at gold today against the dollar, gold is actually looking like it's going to play out our previous analysis from the last week. We're looking at seeing gold sell off from this particular order block right here. And we can see that it is playing out accordingly so far. So we're expecting further sells to the downside, seeing that gold has traded into our point of interest, which was right here. And then our next point of interest will be this low to the downside. All right, so this is what we're looking out to see on gold as we trade today. So let's start off our daily analysis with the 4-hour time frame. Now, looking at the 4-hour time frame, you can see that there's been a strong rejection to the downside, a pretty engulfing candle, and an evening star pattern that has also printed out here on the 4-hour time frame. We're expecting a sell-off on gold all the way to the downside from this level right here. So that should, if that plays out, then our bias on gold for the sell is going to be happening today, and we're going to be taking advantage of that right away. Now, looking at the 1-hour time frame, we had a very strong sell-off this morning on the Asian session, and we saw how it sold off to the downside around here. Now we're expecting a strong a soft retracement rather. We're expecting a retracement to the downside, and we're expecting that after that retracement, we're going to be seeing strong sell-off afterwards. So that retracement, where are we expecting it to get to? My first point of interest was this particular low right here, but seeing that price has broken that low, it might trade a little further to the upside. So this was my first point of interest for a sell-off on gold. We consider price has retraced to that region. We might see something much more deeper than what we already have. Talking about something much more deeper, if we look at the FIB, using the FIB tool to look for our entry, we're seeing where the FIB2 currently is at this moment. We might see it trade a little more to the upside before the final push to the downside. So we're looking at somewhere around this 50%, which coincides with this other block right here. We might look out for a sell-off on gold this morning from this level to the downside. So if you see price retrace into this region here, we wouldn't be surprised, and we'll be looking out for a sell to the downside. So for gold this morning, we're looking at something like this. So this is what we're looking out for on gold this morning, and we'll be waiting for it to play out. And once it does, we'll be executing our sell to the downside. So quickly, let's look at the yen basket. All right, so on the yen basket, we're seeing that it is resuming the sell bias that we've already established quite some weeks ago. Although we saw a little microstructure to the upside, we knew that that was not going to last, because that was majorly as a result of the intervention from the yen, from the Japanese government, and also the bearishness of the dollar from last week's NFP news release. So these are the two things that initiated the bullishness on the yen. And we know that these reasons are not strong enough to keep the yen buying to the upside. So we're expecting further sales to the downside, as you can see already playing out. From the Asian session, we had that strong sell of the yen, and it has already sold to the downside. So we're expecting more and more sales of the yen to the downside. If you look at the 4-hour time frame, you'd also see how that has played out. We are struggling to break further highs, and right now, so we could see how that is playing out already. We're expecting further sales to the downside from here, and that should give us bullishness on yen pairs like GBP JPY. Talking about GBP JPY, you can see on daily time frame it has resumed the buy setup, and we're looking to see it buy further and further to the upside. Last week, we're looking forward to a retracement on GBP JPY to this high right here. You can see how that played out, tapped the high, and then continue moving to the upside. So for GBP JPY, I'm heavily bullish on the guy, and I'm expecting it to continue buying all the way to the upside. Now, looking out for trades for today on GBP JPY. For me, I'll just be waiting for price to return to the high of last week Friday. All right, last week Thursday rather. So if you see the high of last week Thursday being retested, that should give us some execution for GBP JPY buy. So I'm waiting for price to get to this region here, which was actually the high of last week. If you trace this into here, I'll be looking for a buy, and I'll be taking it all the way to the upside. That is my bias on GBP JPY. So any place from here, I'll be looking for a buy, and I'll be taking GBP JPY to the upside. So this is what we're expecting to play out on GBP JPY. Now, if you look at Euro JPY quickly, we're expecting very similar thing, although not at this exact same setup we have for GBP JPY. Looking at the daily time frame, Euro JPY retraced quite deeper than GBP JPY did, and so we're not expecting a very strong bullish momentum at this point because of how it retraced. But right now, we're expecting a buy, although for Euro JPY, we'll be looking to see how price is going to retrace. Looking at how it has been one-sided, we might be expecting a retracement all the way to the high of Friday last week. So this is the level we're expecting Euro JPY to possibly retrace to, because on the 1 hour time frame, we're seeing it like a buy side imbalance, a sell side inefficiency. So we're expecting a sell-off of Euro JPY to this region here, and then we'll be looking for a buy from here. Okay, so these are the things that we're expecting to play out on these pairs we've analyzed this morning. So for gold, quick recap. For gold, we're expecting a sell when price gets into our point of interest, which is somewhere around here. The price point is 4169.63. Once the price gets into that region, we'll be expecting a sell-off on go to the downside. And then for GBP JPY, we're expecting a buy from somewhere around 216.088. And for Euro JPY, we're expecting a buy from 184.620 region. Okay, so these are the things that we're expecting to play out today on these pairs we've analyzed so far. Quickly, we're going to be analyzing dollar against other foreign. We're going to be analyzing dollar against other foreign currencies, starting off with the dollar index, and then we'll be looking at GBP JPY, GBP USD rather, and Euro USD. And to have that analysis shared with us, we'll be having Cynthia joining us this morning to share her bias and her sentiments on this particular currency pairs with all that so far. Good morning, Cynthia.
Good morning, CJ. Thank you so much for that very wonderful analysis. I hope you're having a great week so far, everybody on this session. Right. So if you're yet to share the link, please share it to everyone on your various social media platforms so that this can get to as many people as possible and they can get to partake in what we have ongoing here. Right. Without taking further of our time, we'll just head straight to the chart to see what the market has for us today. Starting off with the XY. Pardon. In the daily time frame, we've actually been looking at this price point for price to retrace all the way into this other block, residing at 99.671. And on the 4-hour time frame, we're seeing that the most recent price action seems to be bearish. All right, so the most recent price action seems to be very bearish, and we've seen a retracement for the continuation of the sell all the way to the daily order block. On 1-hour time frame, we're even seeing that this seems to be very bearish. Price has traded into this order block right here, residing at 101.120 for the continuation of the sell to the downside. On the 15-minute time frame, let's look out for entry signatures. Right at this point, right, there's a shoulder right here, sweep, break, return right back into this level, right? And I want to keep selling the XY way to this daily order block residing right here. So it's a sell to buy for me on the XY. And on GBP USD, let's see what GBP USD has in store for us. On daily time frame, of course, we're looking at this price point for price to trade into this other block right here on the daily time frame. So we're looking out for a buy into this level, right? A buy into 1.34337. And coming down to the 4-hour time frame, most recent price action is actually bullish, and we want price to trade right back into where this shape is, this rectangular shape. We want price to trade right back into this level, and then we'll be warming up to take our sell positions. But overall, I am bullish on GBP USD this morning and into the rest of the week. Except, of course, price trades into our POI and we see some break of structure for us to keep riding the sell. But I am bullish on GBP USD. Let's look out for entries on the much lower time frames, and I'm using the 15 minutes time frame as my case study. As you can see right here, it's a bit fast. Shoulder sweep, shoulder at 1.32293, sweep, break, return right back into this level, and I want to buy GBP USD. And you know where we're buying into the daily other block. So once price traces into this level, we are more than willing to long GBP USD. And last on my list being Euro USD. Daily time frame, of course, still bearish, so we want to see a little bit of retracement into this other block right here on the daily time frame. And for coming down to the 4-hour time frame, we're seeing that, of course, the most recent price action seems to be bullish, right? A little bit of a retracement into this point, and we want to keep selling. The overall direction on Euro USD is a sell, but we want to buy to sell, right? We want to buy to sell on Euro USD. Even on the 1-hour time frame, we're seeing some bullishness. The most recent price action, right? Short-term buys, of course, rather, I beg your pardon. And on the 15 minutes time frame, right, we're looking out for entries, and I can spot one right here. Shoulder at 1.14030, sweep to the downside, break to the upside. Once price gets into this level, I want to take my long positions. With that being said, please take note of this price point so that once price gets there, you're right on time. You can even set your pending orders. Let's head straight to the synthetics market to see what the market has for us this week. Lakon, I caught your VIX 75 1S bias last week rather, and it's just been crazy. It's been buying. So what do you have for us this week on synthetics market?
Yeah, thank you very much, Cynthia. And remember to send your tithes. The account number is Bybit Network. All right. All right. So for everyone, once again, good
Hello, Lakon.
morning. And
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me loud and clear, please?
Oh,
Sorry, can you hear me loud and clear? Hello, good morning. All right, so that's a great, insightful analysis. And this morning, we are going to be going straight into the synthetic market. Just as Cynthia already said, it's been a profitable one since last week, especially our trade call on Monday, where we were looking to buy the 751S. And even in the course of the week, the 75 itself also gave some, delivery level around somewhere here. So it was in the course of the week, I think on Thursday or Wednesday, that was when that entry showed up. But this morning, let's quickly go into the chart and look at the opportunity we are having this morning to see where and what are we taking so far so good. So in a nutshell, if you look at it on the 24-hour time frame, we are going to discover, which is the daily time frame, we are still very much bullish, and price just took out a significant liquidity level. So what are we doing right now? The only thing we are looking for is to continue buying VIX75, since we are now back to the bullish trend for some time now. All right, so let's quickly move to the where do we have the entry and what can we do moving forward. Now looking at it, we have our shoulder level at this point. We've seen liquidity being swept and a market structure shift at this level here. So I'm expecting price to come all the way, sell all the way to this point, and we buy from this structure here. So this is the first entry level where our buy should be. However, when price gets there, there is high probability we should just execute half of our entry. Why this is it, unless you know you have enough capital to hold your SL to this point, and that is a very good one, right? But if not, you may just give a half shot at that point, where your next shot is going to be at this particular level here. Reason being that we have a very tiny fair value gap there at this point, and that is a quite significant level. We are backed up with the fact that our order block seated just below there. So those are the two entries. This is the first premium one, and we have another one at this shoulder level. And what are we targeting? We are targeting our 1:2 or 1:3, right? When you do your 1:2, you can easily take your ends off, or you break even if you are good and comfortable with it, while you ride it all the way up. All right, so that is for VIX75 itself. Moving to 751S, looking at it from the daily perspective, we've been very, very bullish. Just as Cynthia said last week, we had our entry. We're waiting for price to retrace all the way into this this order block, which is also a shoulder level, because price came all the way to take out this particular low here. So we consider that as a shoulder, you can see, and we have our break at this particular point at the top here. And since price already did that, the next thing we are looking for is for it to retrace, which it did, and we are riding it all the way, of which most of us, we took our 1:2, 1:3 rather, and offload, which is at this particular liquidity point. Why we still have people who still ride it all the way up. All right, but right now, where exactly do we have the re-entry again for the trade? Now, if you come to your 1 hour time frame, the only place we are waiting for price to get to, so that we can take a new shot, is that price retracing to the 5,600 level, which is this particular point here. Then when price get back here, we can easily long this 751S again, with our stop loss just below this level here. All right, so that is the first entry, while the second entry will be somewhere here. If price takes out this inducement around this place, then we short with a very good lot size, and we ride it all the way back up, because it is a buy continuation. All right, so that is that for VIX751S. And lastly, we have VIX10 index itself, which we've been waiting for since last week. Setup is still there, waiting for price to come. We are expecting price to come all the way to take out this liquidity, this inducement here. And when price takes it out, we have our shoulder here. So that is a great entry level for us to see price get into. Many want to see price get all the way to this zone, and our stop loss just below this liquidity point here, and we are riding it all the way back up. All right, so that is it for the synthetic market for this week. Let's wait and see that our setup plays out. And remember, risk management is really the key to longevity in trading. All right, and just make sure you manage your risk well, and at the same time, be patient enough for price to trade into your POI. Then you execute. So these are the 3 watch we have for this week. So let's look out for them and take the trade opportunity. Right about now, we'll be going into the indices market to also take some opportunities we have showing up there this morning. And having to take us through that is Demola Global itself. All right, good morning, Demola.
Lekon, thank you for that beautiful analysis on the synthetic market. I believe we are all taking advantage of these setups. All right. Moving forward in today's analysis, we'll be looking at the indices market. Like you know, we've been on a beautiful winning streak with our analysis for a couple of weeks now, making really good profits from the market. All right. So last week we did about 1:10 from NAS 100. If you remember, let me put it on 30-minute time frame. On this particular guy here, right? Price didn't get our overall take profit of 1:13, but I mean, it's not bad. 1:10, it's not bad. And on Friday, this refused to trigger just by a few pips, right? Very funny. If we had used the week of this other block as our entry, we'll have tagged us inside, but then it's just what it is. The market moved not so much, has been done, probably 1:1-ish, but you know, we are not inside the street currently as it is, which is not bad, right? So starting off with NAS 100, the week is, we are still bullish on the daily time frame, as you can see, but of course, right now you can see we are in a range. Look at the price action, right? With all of this drama happening here, there's no clear-cut direction, up, down, sideways, kind of a sideways trend, which is not bad on the daily time frame. That means we can also anticipate both buy and sell in this market, right? That being said, let's look at the lower time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, let's shift down to the 4-hour time frame. Like I mentioned, I'm looking at what the market is doing now. We have a clear 4-hour order block to the downside, right? Which price also seems to have triggered, right? Tested it and then is selling to the downside, which is not bad. In fact, it's in alignment with our direction for a sell last week, right? However, this is a lot. When we begin to streamline our setup, then begin to see that, okay, price actually might want to tap into this zone again and then sell to the downside, right? This can serve as liquidity or inducement for me, meaning price still comes back to take out this guy here. Price takes out this low that's been created or high that's been created and then now finally drops to the downside, right? That being said, that's another possibility in the market. Moving to the 30-minute time frame, let's see if we have any form of, you know, obstacle there. Nothing on the 30-minute time frame. On the 15-minute time frame, we are good to go, right? So meaning for any reason price comes back above this zone, clears liquidity, and then probably gives us box pattern on say 5-minute time frame, that would be a very good place to buy. Why? Because you will even get a more refined entry from that zone to the downside, right? But for now, this is what we have. I'm looking at 1:3 from this zone here, and then of course, once price breaks above this low, then I know that we are going to the downside. We are heading, the journey just began, right? Once price breaks above this other block, this is 4-hour order block. Don't forget, we marked out this other block from like 2 weeks ago, which was valid for our buy that we had last week, right? So if for any reason price violates this other block, our sell will just continue, and that will be a start of another bearish trend in the market. I hope that makes sense. All right, that being said, moving to US 30. On the daily time frame, we are also bullish. It's very clear and obvious that we are bullish in this market, right? And this bullishness means we should also expect some form of retracement anytime soon on the 4-hour time frame, right? We are looking for price to price retracing, discounting a bit, probably to 38, not 30, 50.0 level as equilibrium or 61.8, right? Fib level. That being said, on the 1 hour time frame, what do we have? What do we have? Okay, so price sold to the downside and then gave us this bearish order block, which reacted a bit from, but then nothing really significant to break this low that was created. All right, so for now, I'm a bit relaxed with US30. I'm not taking any trade for now. I want to observe even more before I now, place any trade in terms of actual position, actual money on this market, right? What we have now is just price doing its thing, a consolidation from no clear direction, either to the upside or to the downside, even on the lower time frame. This is still a range on the lower time frame. We've not seen structure broken properly on the lower time frame. If we had seen that, then probably we'll be looking at for sales. But what we have now is just us having to be patient and we get clear direction of where the market is going. There's no point rushing, right? Look at last week's setup. It actually just came to us and then we took that trade. So we don't need to force anything this new week. All right, on S&P 500, there's something a bit different on S&P 500. Even on the lower time frame, you're seeing like a form of box pattern, right? A sweep and then a break and then price retesting this entire zone. All right. And so observing again, like NAS 100, and most likely this will serve as some form of inducement, right? And then we are now pushing to the lower time frame. We are pushing to the downside, sorry. This is the first take profit, all right? By the time we adjust this properly, we are looking at 1:4.9. Let me just put 1:5-ish, right? And so this is what we are looking at for this morning. I'm observing this. Hopefully price gets triggered and then we see that drop to the downside. Of course, this will be like the first objective take profits. The second one will be this zone here, right? Price doing its thing. And then probably we get another one is to, this another one is to 8 this week. One is to 8.5, one is to 9, any of them. 1:8, right? Let's see how the market reacts to this. All right, so that's pretty much what we have going on for today on NAS 100 and also on S&P 500. Or for US30, we'll just be observing. If it gives us some form of setup, we'll take it. But now there's nothing clear on that yet for now. So that's the reason why we'll be looking at the remaining two, NAS and S&P 500. Thank you for joining this session, to the last session for this morning on commodity market. I'll be looking at opportunity in that asset class. All right. What are you looking at in commodity asset?
All right, welcome once again, everyone, to VX's market color session. We're going to be rounding up today's session, raise a look at the commodity currencies like Demola stated, seeing the opportunities that present themselves, and if we are able to make some money from this market today or the entire week. Starting off with a look at AUD/USD on the H4 time frame, you see that price has been selling since somewhere around April. It's been breaking structures with the next major support level, which could stand in between being all the way down here. That's the zone we're currently watching out for. We're looking at most recent price action now. You can see that price has now printed sunshine. Printed sunshine basically signifying that people who were taking this buy move are taking their profit off the market, and we should start to see either a retracement or an eventual reversal, meaning it could just sell temporarily or sell full time to continue the overall break of structures that we've been seeing happening on this asset class. Having that in mind, having a sell bias in mind, I'm going down to the H1 to see what this asset class is doing. Now, in this case, yes, price is also selling. It's been selling for a while as well. We look at the shape of this other indicator, basically moving or tilting to the upside, making me wonder if we could see a temporal push upward a bit more before the sell is continued. Also bearing in mind that we happen to have some diagonal liquidity lying around here. There's also a flip zone that price could want to come tap into, support some resistance before it starts to sell. However, if H1 is not clear, what would make it clear for me would be going on the 5-minute time frame to see what price is doing, right? Now, the 5-minute time frame has 4 major levels that have been marked out. If you don't have the indicators, that's fine. Don't let it, confuse you. Just take note of the price point around here. The zones are marking out. So 4 major POIs I'm watching out for on M5 are 0.69481, 0.69432, 0.69 110 and 0.68862. These are now the 4 major levels that I'm watching out for on M5, basically saying if you're going to continue to buy AUD/USD, you should come and violate this zone, and break to the downside. But if you're not going to continue to, what did I mention just now? You're going to continue to sell. If you're going to continue selling, violate this zone to the downside, and we're going to see more sell opportunities. However, if a buy is going to continue, paying attention to what we just said on H1, then we're going to see price break above this zone, break above what could have served as the resistance here and the resistance here, give us a retest of this level and temporarily buy what into our flip zone, take out liquidity, tap into the fair value gap. When you zoom in, you see that there are averages here, I believe, the price will come tap into. Okay, not really. If we're going to mark this out as a fair value gap, we're going to be forcing our way in. Because you can see that most of the candles close except for this one. So this is now a tiny fair value gap that happens to be in confluence with that flip zone, right? That we're watching for price to eventually come and tap into before it continues to sell. So right now, the time frame that is going to give me confirmations as to what the market is going to do is the 5 minutes. Violate this zone, break below, give me confirmations that you're going to sell. I'm going to continue to sell AUD/USD. However, if this resistance level fails to hold, because price is going to tap in here, if it fails to hold here and fails to hold here, there's going to be a bit more buy to the upside before AUD/USD sell is continued. Regardless, my overall bias for this asset class is a sell with a buy being temporal. Now moving into the next asset class, which is NZD/USD on the H4 time frame as well. Price is also giving us sell opportunities of this asset class going down to the 1 hour time frame. So we have even more confluence. You see that we have a major point of interest lying around 0.58051 that price could want to buy into before the sell is continued. There's also a bunch of diagonal liquidity lying down on this asset class, right? Sunshine has been printed here, so if we see this buy happen, we'll not be surprised. But now moving into the 5-minute time frame, similar to what we did on AUD/USD. We're looking at price, currently tapping this zone. There's been a break and a retest of yesterday's low. Basically, Friday's close on open market, the lowest point of Friday's market movement, rather. So price is starting to react off this zone. There could be sales from here into this level. You could see sales from here into this level. If this support fails to hold, there's going to be a violation below this zone and the continuation of the sell move that we're seeing. However, if this zone holds and happens to break above, that's just the concept behind points of interest. You either serve or you get violated, and one thing continues to happen in one particular direction. So looking at this now, price is giving me a bit more confidence for NZD/USD sell. Let's go to the M1 and see if M1 aligns. So M1 has not aligned yet, because you can see that price is still above these indicators. Preferably, we want to see price broken below here, a retest downward, so we know the sell is going to continue. But from what price is currently doing, I won't be surprised if I see, something like this happen and then the sell continues, or even all the way up here before the sell continues. But it's not surprising. Today is Monday, the market is still moving, so we're going to get a bit more settled data moving into the rest of the week. And then finally looking at USD CAD on the H4 time frame, price has predominantly been buying for a while. This sunshine printed, so this buy is back in full force. There's been no sunshine on the next direction. So until the new sunshine is printed, before we start to say, okay, is it possible for us to start seeing USD CAD sell? For now, price is still buying. On the H1 time frame now, you see that we marked out a level on M5 that I'm going to show you, which could push price down a bit. However, on this zone, if we're ever to have a retracement of USD CAD, which we eventually will because the market does not move in one direction, this is going to be our first point of interest, which is 1.42023, 1.41917, and 1.39701, right? These will now be the levels that price retraces into before the buy is continued. And then on the 5-minute time frame, you see that this is the zone that we marked out on H1, which is where price currently is, hence why we're seeing that reaction of it. So
The resistance level that has served in the past could serve currently. If you see retracement here, it just be a temporal sell, and a buy continuation. So this generally is my bias on these commodity currencies. And as always, you'd also want to pay attention to Forex Factory and see the fundamental news releases that we have happening, because they play a major role in how this indicator/technical analysis move. Okay, with that being said, thank you so much for joining. If you're not part of the Value for Trading community, make sure you do that now by visiting valuefortrading.com/market color. Get signed up, join the Market Color Telegram group so you don't miss out on any information whatsoever. If you're a totally new trader who's looking to learn how to trade the Forex market, simply send us a WhatsApp message to 081 6099 5030 and let us get you started. With that being said, thank you so much for joining. Have a profitable week. God bless. I remain Sabi Abi.